Thanks for staying with us. Queen Mantfombi Dlamini-Zulu will continue to act as the regent of the Zulu nation. That's according to AmaZulu traditional Prime Minister Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Buthelezi says the decision was taken according to the wishes of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini Bhekuzulu. This after King Goodwill Zwelithini's will was read to a gathering of 200 members of the royal family earlier today. The 72-year-old king departed more than a week ago. Buthelezi says a successor will only be determined after the royal family's mourning period of 3 months. Dr. Bhedlindaba Mkhize, the founder of the Umsamo Institute, joins me now to chat more about this. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thanks indeed for your time. I want to talk about the significance of this and whether this is in line, of course, with the Zulu culture. Only after 3 months will we know who that successor is. But for now, we have a Queen Mantfombi Dlamini-Zulu, who is obviously going to take the reins for now.
Thank you very much, Griselda. Thank you very much to the listeners. This is exciting, and this is, to me, a very, very good thing because it takes us back to the ritual that we have lost. And I'm so excited that it's actually implemented by the royal family themselves. Let me explain this ritual. You see, in our tradition, African tradition, the Zulu people particularly, if someone passes away, we abandon all the labor that has to do with the soil, touching the soil. In isiZulu, we say, "Inkabi ziyabuya emasimini, asihlakula silime." And then the second one is that once we have actually buried the person, in this case, siyitshalile inkosi yethu, what happens is there must be 2 rituals. The first one is the 30 days one, last year city corner, sihlambulula mahalavu. Those people were there at the funeral. They come back after 30 days. They collect back all the tools that were used during the funeral. The 3 months one is the very exciting one because most of our people, they have abandoned that one. We call it in isiZulu, umqokozelo. Let me explain umqokozelo. It's a ritual where we say, now, after 30 days, there are no functions. If ever there was maybe a wedding or whatever that was supposed to be done, we abandon, we stop everything. Now, the 30 days thereafter, we do a calabash. In other words, umqombothi, where we say, ukhamba lokuxokozela, and we slaughter a goat, where we say, now, family members, the youngsters, whoever, now they are free. They can go to any event, they can go to any function, which can do anything. So 3 months, therefore, in the case of the royal family, I think they are practicing that. Now, remember, it doesn't mean also, I would like to warn the media at large, it doesn't mean that after 3 months, they will announce the king. No.
All right.
It means they will go back to the normal life. Therefore, it's up to them to take maybe 5 months, 6 months, or a year to appoint the king. Remember, whoever that is going to be a king, he must actually qualify in different formats. Let's assume that the king maybe did mention in his will that so-and-so is going to be a king. What about if, I'm just saying, what about if maybe he is not yet married? Because in our tradition, you cannot lead. So those are a number of things. I'm not saying that we are going to wait for that, but let's not be crazy about this 3 months. 3 months means we will actually be doing umqokozelo, and thereafter, guys, it's up to us what to do and how long it takes.
And I don't know if I'm clutching at straws. Maybe, Doctor, you'd be able to educate me there. But the significance of a woman, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini-Zulu, you know, it may be for this 3 months or even longer, as you put it. But for a woman, of course, you know, to hold for this particular period, because what we sensed from Prince Buthelezi was that there could not be this vacuum since the departing of the king.
My dear, let me explain this to the South Africans at large. It's not for the first time. Mkabayi did that. Mtania, who was Masibiya, did that. And also Mamsweli, who was the Undlunkulu of Dlamini-Zulu, did that. You see, I always say that there's nothing that has come with the Western civilization in our tradition and culture. If we're talking about women empowerment, we are the first people, we African people. You could not sell a cow in your kraal without consulting your wife. To us, that is why when Griselda Lewis comes to my family and you happen to marry my brother or my son, there will be a graduation later on where you won't be called a Mrs. Mkhize or a Louise, yes, but you will be named by your father's name. That is what is actually happening in the Undlunkulus. That is what is happening to our family. So in other words, there is a lot of how can I put it, studies and also writings that must actually now say, how are our African women were empowered in our own African tradition? So there's nothing wrong with Mantfombi. It's just a follow-up on what has been happening. And also remember that it might happen that the family wants to be ready on certain issues or on certain things. Therefore, they said, let's appoint Mantfombi. Now, let me bring this into the attention of the country. Mantfombi was actually paid lobola by the nation. It is umfazi wesizwe olotsholwe isizwe and okuyena who actually do what? Ozala inkosi.
Yes.
So therefore, she is very appropriate, even though she is the third one.
Thanks indeed for that clarity, Doctor. It really puts a lot of insight into it. We spoke about this at that particular point, but the significance also of this, I guess, would be whoever then, whether it's that 3 months or even extended beyond that, continues with the legacy of the departed king. We spoke about this issue of unity amongst the Zulu nation and basically be able to tackle some of the pressing issues or being involved in some of the pressing issues that South Africa is facing, because the departed king certainly did not shy away from that.
Yes. You see, let's be aware of this. The departed king took over from his father, Bhekuzulu. The challenges of the time of Bhekuzulu were different from when he took over as a son, okay? Now, you see, I wrote an article in one of the newspapers where I was analyzing the names of the kings and the names of his sons. Remember, the names, they say a lot. Zwelithini. Now, Zwelithini masekphathalo. And therefore, I'm saying the king that will take over, his name also will say a lot.
Right.
Particularly as named by his father. Now, the new king will be taking at a new time, at the new era, with the new challenges. Remember now, let's be very honest. We have so many structures at this point in time, which actually are going to come out and say, no, we are fighting for our rights. No, what was done by the previous king, it was wrong. Now, the Ngonyama Trust was 1, 2, 3. Even our own government. Let's not shy away from that. They will actually want to have a say or whatever. So he must be a very strong man, of which he will say, it's my father who used to do that. I'm not prepared to do that. I am actually taking my own new path, using new strategies, accommodating 1, 2, 3, and so on.
Yeah.
We don't know what will be his leadership style.
All right. Dr. Bhedlindaba Mkhize, always a pleasure speaking to you, the founder of the Umsamo Institute, joining us live here on the program.